It does work again. This is good. So what do we normally do in project portfolios? Good and the bad. This is really at portfolio level, and normally what we often have in the initial setting, portfolios become a little bit of a show-off case. You want high prestigious projects in it, which often results in high risk being taken on, yeah, low expected return, and potentially long durations, and lack of strategic alignment. Where can we see examples of that? Did you have anything in mind? Have you seen projects like that where you thought like, oh, is this really the remit of the company? No? Any? Yeah, Virgin as a company, yeah, they have a little bit of that going, but they're actually quite good. They are a very clever marketing company, so they have actually a trick there. But normally a good example comes, for example, from the defense sector. They tried actually to get into schooling. This was quite popular in the UK. They thought that the discipline and the kind of directed tone, short messages would be an ideal way of educating young children, and they actually came up with a portfolio of rolling this out, and it became a nightmare. Children didn't want to go to school. So there's maybe a hidden direction in it, but this was actually in the media. Other ones, in automotive, we had interactive driving screens. This was pretty cool. I thought that was cool, but that was not really cool because it irritated drivers. They were trying to touch the screen whilst driving, not a good idea. So there were a lot of elements that weren't yet fully developed. Another one in construction was a prestige project. We have actually quite a few of those, where companies go in projects to have their name on the project, but actually know that it's very difficult to return profit on the project. Yeah, if you're interested, again, my hometown has beautiful examples of that. There was a Potsdamer Platz, which basically brought down at the time, largest construction company of Germany, Philipp Holzmann. They're gone pretty much because they knew that they would have very little profit, if at all. And then in the project, it became very clear that the materials that they were supposed to use weren't yet fully developed for use. So there was a lot of research and development money to go on, and the investment was just too large. Yeah. Then the good practice is aligned with strategy, rational to risk and return and duration. And as you can see, there's a consequence with this, of course. So when we actually come to a project portfolio process framework, it's a certain setup, this beautiful bubble, with stars and triangles and ellipses and all this. This is our portfolio with different projects and programs in it. By the symbolism, you can see what they belong to. So this is how I set that up. So you start really at the beginning with the organization's mission, goal, and objective, and sometimes it's done actually reversely. So a lot of companies that I worked with in Southern Africa, they didn't actually have a strategy, which was quite, well, they kind of had one, but it was implicit. They did things a certain way, so we actually facilitated and created that for them. So we called that organizational health survey. We had actually workshops with them. We then defined values for them. We came up with a mission that they're all committed to. I worked for an American company, so it's always a mission where you meet and it's like, we go for it, and then you are all in for it. So this is how we did this, and then there were goals and objectives set, and then we looked at the structures. There were gaps in the structure. Some people actually run kind of like a three-man show by themselves. So we actually kind of backed them up, that there were people that actually could learn and understand what they were doing, that if that person gets ill, not the whole organization falls apart. So those are things that you're doing there. Yeah, and then of course this informs then the project portfolio management process. Yeah, and you actually start defining where do you want to push on. Yeah, new product development, process modification, re-engineering, IT system, capacity expansion, maintenance, renovation, compliance with law and general standards and so forth. And that informs and of course as well what projects you are actually taking in. Yeah? And then again, this is a system of project classification that really informs this process. Oh, one arrow is gone. There should be an arrow as well before we actually get into the portfolio, of course, from that. Yeah, that there is a loop actually added. So have a look again at the slides, and then I hope that will make sense. We had this already. I've refined it on one model. An alternative is a little bit easier. This is what we had kind of in the first half comprised in like general terms. This is from literature if you want. So you have each project must be assessed according to the same criteria relevant to its category. And then on one side you have the project portfolio as dynamic entities whose composition changes over time, and completed projects exist with it and within it as well. So new projects are added and some projects are modified or permanently determined because they will no longer add value to the organization. And then in the next one, portfolios are heavily influenced both by internal organization factors, mission goals, objectives, blah, blah, blah. I've actually done this for you on the next slide. Here we go. Yeah. So here, this is a portfolio where Alex would be proud of me. Yeah, with sustainability, I have actually addressed that. So not all are designed with those criteria, although it would be nice to see. Maybe they are, but not really enforced on that premises. Organizations experience with similar projects. This is a basis. Yeah. Organizations, institutional, informational, and process assets. Then impact on an organization's employees, motivation and performance. Environmental impact, of course. Then ethical considerations and corporate social responsibility. Then strategic partnership building, size and composition of existing program and project portfolio, and environmental factors. So here I actually mean PESTLE. So economic, market, social, legal, political. Then as well strategic fit. You get the idea, I hope. Yeah? And very important, again, the expected benefits. This is normally quantified, although they are qualitative. This is slightly opposing, but we often have a value attached to it, although it's actually felt in a different way. I come to that actually in a second. Then as well the organizational competences, so this could be as well turned upside down, and you could see where you actually have kind of your capacities, competencies to actually do projects, and where you may want to grow. So if you think of the sheds, if you have a lot of good people working with wood, actually you could build a skyscraper with wood, but I'm just saying that probably not everybody would want to move into it. This is a scary experience if you build the first skyscraper with wood. Is there a skyscraper with wood? This needs researching. I'm actually not sure.
No, it's strong enough.
No, but you can modify wood. It's not a problem. I can tell you firsthand. I've seen it. But I haven't seen anybody being brave enough to build with it. This is I think the other. Pardon?
Using wood as core structure.
Yeah.
For skyscraper.
Yeah, no problem. Anybody that has been to Asia and has seen how
scaffolding out of bamboo.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, finally we have appreciation of material. Yeah, see, this is exactly what it comes to. Yeah, so there's a lot of properties hidden in it. So wood is an option. If anybody has commercial questions here with wood relation, come to me afterwards. I give you my card. I'm just joking, but it's possible. Yeah. Okay, so what is project portfolio management now? So we are really after linking the portfolio to the business strategy. We had that already, but it's worth repeating. We have to understand that. Screening, analyzing, and financial appraisal. Yeah, so this means as well through the project life cycle. This can be actually quite heartbreaking exercise, especially if you paid first and then get all the stuff. Yeah. Where do we pay everything up front? Does anybody know? Products? Where do you pay up front? You haven't even started the project. Where is this a great idea? It's always a great idea for a project manager, but where do we do this? Paying up front? No? It's a definition question. Yeah, you can actually agree that on every project if you get your client to do this. Huh? It's actually not bad. Huh? It gives you a little bit leverage there. Okay, I make a very odd example and then you can research it yourself. If you want to have a pig farm, they are paid completely up front before you even start drawing one. Yeah, so this a niche market, so there you go. There are other markets as well. Yeah, if you're into designer clothes and you like the fancy side, you pay it up front before they even start ordering the silk for your stuff. Yeah, so all I'm saying. But there are a few that have been very smart in doing this. It's lower risk, yeah, for the project. There are other ones as well, actually large-scale ones as well. Shipbuilding is a big one. Yeah, sorry. So then, yeah, right balance. We had that quite a bit. Yeah, and I suppose if you want to make a good impression on the senior management, maximizing the value of the portfolio, this is always appreciated. The real dilemma, in a way, this is like what it should be and what it shouldn't be. And on the other side here, we have really the things where it gets dangerous. So if a portfolio of project does not reflect the business strategy, you're in deep trouble. Because then it becomes unrelated and the reassessment is very likely to stop your project. Then the portfolio's quality is poor. Yeah, this can be actually through certain market drivers as well. If materials become expensive and wood is a cheap option for skyscrapers, yeah, keep that in mind. Then you where do you go? Of course, wood. Then poor projects are often not killed in time because you don't actually review the projects often enough. Quite frankly, at the portfolio stage, it's a quantity issue. Yeah, and far too many projects for the limited resources available. If as well the program management becomes kind of a fighting for the resources for your project, then quite frankly it's not worth doing new projects. And then last but not least, not enough projects that yield mega breakthroughs, real competitive advantage. If you make a very safe portfolio, this is normally the end of your company. You're just waiting for a small shift in product, service or market, and you are pretty much, that was your existence in this market. If you just run it over portfolio. So those are warning signs in a way with it. The actual process, how to lead it through, is really this cycle, context of the organization, then inventorization, so it's an inventory that you're actually developing, analysis and assessment, determination of portfolio, and then implementation, and then you basically stay within this cycle. Yeah, this is when a portfolio exists, and you have to as well decide when a portfolio is actually outdated or you want to maybe split it up in other portfolios. Again, there are benefits with it. First of all, at the beginning you probably should look at the senior management commitment for this, but there's a definition cycle and a delivery cycle. And if you run it well, then it can create, normally it's a growth engine at the same time. So as I mentioned earlier, portfolios are often used to actually grow your company, either in terms of profitability, turnover, maybe even employees or competencies. Yeah? And with that, it has promising prospects if done properly. Yeah. This is a summary. This comes from Kerzer. I won't talk you through, but this is literally the process that you follow through from senior leadership to the project. And if you do it right, yeah, and proper, then you see it goes as well up again. Yeah? So this comes initially from external assessment, strategic management. You do the assessment of the markets and where you are. Then you translate it to the portfolio, down to the project management, and then you need to have the feedback. If you ignore the feedback, then you can run wonderful looking portfolios that potentially ruin your company from inside out. Again, there are very famous companies that have done that recently. Unfortunately, I'm more familiar with the German ones. If you look, if you want a fabulous case study, ThyssenKrupp is quite interesting at the moment. So again, it's a wonderful big company. This is a simple scoring model for project proposals. It's weighting, so how much does it sit? I've made it here very simple. Strategic fit, core competencies, urgency. Oh, what is this ROI? What does that stand for? Yeah, super. Yeah. So and then you weight it accordingly. You have maybe pre-structures, what is important to you, and then you evaluate the project against it, add it up, and then you can see how they actually rank. So this is a very simple idea of a scorecard, and accordingly you would actually progress with them. If it's there are of course overruling projects if they are of strategic urgency, but don't have a return on investment. You may still have to run with them. So this needs to be still conditioned to a certain degree. So where are we with this then? Projects versus project portfolios. So on the project side, you have course for change beneficial for the organization. Focus on project goal, budget, schedule, requirements, and stakeholders. We learned this very deeply. Then use a process and tool-based methodology, so that we can steer it as well. We come to that. We look actually how we manage the delivery of the project in detail. Then compete with other projects for the resources in an appropriate manner. So this doesn't mean that you steal or approach actually the whole resources completely away. And then are defined by their complexity, risk, cost, schedule, expected return, and other factors. May fail or be prematurely determined. Where does that come from? This comes, of course, from the project portfolio, from the evaluation. So project portfolios must add maximum value to organization for resource provided, must be consistent with the organization's missions, goals, and objectives, are based on a robust, consistently applied process for selecting and managing projects, and need to be periodically monitored for performance and revamped if necessary. And last but not least, are holistic in outlook and aid senior management's decision making. So you're informing as well back. This was why I wanted to have those circles where you're as well feeding back from the project level. This is very important. If you have many hierarchy levels behind it, it gives you normally an idea about the organization. It's normally they're not very well connected. More people means more interpretations, means more simplification very often. And that is the dilemma. Last one, I'll let you read it yourself, but in a nutshell, this is an iterative process and treat it as such. So make sure that as a project manager, you actually work with your program managers and as well portfolio managers. I have seen a disconnect there, especially depending on the project management style. My voice is as well going, it's good as the last slide. Depending on the management style, this approach can fail horrendously if you don't communicate. Either you have to communicate in quantities, this means you have to measure it hard. You have to have schedules, you have to evaluate activities, and as well tasks that you're doing with actual value allocations. This is one way. Otherwise, you have to be. Sorry. Otherwise, you have to be a very strong communicator. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it at that point. Any questions? Quite heavy. Yeah, we will work through it in the seminar and make sense of it in simple scenarios and a little bit playfulness. Yeah. Okay.